Hi, my name's Judy and I run Quiet Year Records alongside with Grimalkin Records at rumblepak. This is Grim Year Wednesdays. Every week we're talking with some really talented people doing some really amazing things about what's going on in their lives. And also please, please, please donate to Virginia Anti-Violence Project. They do a lot of great work across Virginia with LGBTQIA plus survivors of violence, of all kinds of violence, everything from like an individual level to like community level. Like there's just a lot of really great ways that they help our community. So if you could please help them out, that would be really great. Ruminate on these conversations and be good to other people. So today on Grim Year Wednesdays, we have swayze and Rafael de Toledo Pedroso. So I just wanted to say, I'm going to go ahead and put in the chat room, which is on this side, virginiaavp.org. So if anybody also has questions, feel free to type and respond in the chat room, and it's going to be a good time. Hi, swayze. How are you?
Hello, Judy. I am well. How are you?
I'm good. Just kind of enjoying the rain that's happening outside. I'm not really a rain person, but I don't know. Today it's just hitting.
It's the feels rain, not the enjoyable rain.
I don't know. Maybe. It's gotta be like the right timing, I guess.
I get that. It can't be one of those rains where it's like super torrential and it's kind of messing up like connections and things like that. Instead of one of those quiet, serene rains and just like, nice. Enjoying a hot cup of tea and watching some like professional wrestling. At least that's what I do. I don't know if you watch it or not, but that's just me.
But actually, you brought up wrestling. So that was actually something that I found to be really interesting about your music and art career going on, is that theme of wrestling and also your art popped up pretty often throughout that. Would you elaborate on like the relationship of wrestling towards your art?
Well, I have to give credit to not just professional wrestling in general, but I really have to give credit to just my circle of friends that I've been following for some years on Twitter that like share the same interests as me within wrestling, because a lot of the times I felt like it was just me that does the whole like rapping is wrestling thing, but they kind of share that community with me, and I really have to appreciate everybody that's been with that. Most of the time I see it as just something that's more so expressive and something that I could really like attain to, whereas though it's legitimately performance art where it's violent ballet, but it's like it's performative. It's somewhat to a point where it's predetermined as always, but it's something that both parties are consenting to. And I felt as though one of those things that really intrigued me about wrestling was the pageantry, the attitude, the personas, and things like that. And it had the exact same thing within hip hop. So I felt as though the best thing that I could do is it's something in wrestling called a shoot gimmick, where a shoot gimmick is essentially something that's real for you in real life, but you use it as a gimmick. And to me, wrestling, ironically enough, is my shoot gimmick, whereas though it's something that I love within my real life, but I use it within the art that I use with my music.
Kind of having that as an outlet for your everyday life. Also, on the other hand, having watching and maybe even participating in wrestling. I don't know if you go that far into that. It's another outlet. It makes sense.
Yeah, like there was a year when I was actually considering that I would go into like wrestling for a bit, but like the job that I had at the time kind of took too much time out of my hands to even go further into that career. So I kind of just let it wait, like pretty much go by the wayside. So I'd much rather just do what I was supposed to do when it comes to like music, and just like let that inspiration come towards what I was supposed to be doing with music.
Definitely. Kind of on the vein of you brought up earlier the different kinds of collaborations that you have going on. I think it's really interesting that you bring up the fact that there is the connections made through music, and then also within that same community you can connect over different interests as well. It's not just music, you know, it's not just art that you bond over. There's other facets of the friendship that's there that leads, you know, that all flows into the creative work. And I realize that actually comes up a lot in your work. Would you be interested in talking about what kinds of collaborations that you have going on?
Collaborations. I got a couple. You know, it's nothing crazy. It's most of the collaborations I do are very local. The one collaboration that's not local, that's not in Baltimore, was one of my friends, Foxy Calvin Campbell, who is an independent wrestler himself that lives out in Boston. I actually made his entrance music for him. That way, like, the whole connection between wrestling and music wasn't just like a thing that was on the internet. It's actually something that's real life as well. So I made the collaboration with him to not only make his entrance music, but he's going to be on the cover of my secret album, PBS, which is due this Saturday as well. Another collaboration that I'm working with on the local scene is with Working Title Podcasts. It's a really strong brand that they're building, and I felt as though the best way for us to like really just like be connected as one was do a lot of work with them. I have this promotion called Score Swayze Saturdays that happened all throughout the month of August. And this past Saturday, I did a special where inside the Rapper Studio, the show that I do Monday through Fridays, and their podcast, Working Title Podcast, had a bit of a crossover episode, sort of like a Simpsons Family Guy kind of situation, whereas though the same thing that happened on both shows happens on the live. So most of our collaborations are very local, and I really just try to emphasize on like spreading the love and working together and just having that collective unit feel to it.
Definitely. That's really wonderful to hear. Um, I was wondering more about Inside the Rapper Studio, which you, just to reiterate, you said goes on a Monday through Friday. I want to say it's like 8 p.m. every day ish.
Yeah,
Yeah, 8 p.m. every day. And I think I watched one earlier today, and I think you had said there's like more than 80 something episodes.
yeah. Tonight will be episode 93.
93. I've never done 93 of anything before. So that's amazing. Yeah, no, it's really great. I definitely admire your interviewing skills. This is not easy, and you just make it look so effortless. So I mean, I feel like that's another area of collaboration that you do every single day. So how has it been with your experience interviewing and talking with a bunch of different kinds of people almost every day for this show?
I'm going to be honest with you. As an introvert, it pours a lot of energy out of me. It takes a lot out of me. It's just that as soon as I hit that live button, as soon as like things go up and I play like the entrance music for it, all that goes away. And it's like, all right, it's showtime. I got to introduce some people. I got to be entertaining. I got to plug my own stuff. Like, to me, ironically enough, I started doing this because quarantine happened and I couldn't book any more shows for the live series that I usually do, which is called Swayze TV Live, where artists will come on, perform. I pay the artist, I pay the DJ, and things like that. But that got shut down. And being as though quarantine shut not only that down, but my actual 9 to 5 down, I felt as though I got 8 more hours in my life, you know? So I figured if I had to go to work every day, I might as well do something that's worth doing, which is like interacting with other artists. So that's where the idea of Inside the Rapper Studio came from. So essentially, it's more so one of those things that's very helpful to what we do in the community in Baltimore in terms of music. It's just another facet to connect everybody while everybody's separated in quarantine.
Very much empathize with everything that you said, because that's how this show came about, is not being able to book shows but still wanting to be able to connect with people and hear what cool things people have going on, because people are still making a lot of great art and working on great things. On the subject of your secret album coming out this Saturday, I'm saying it like that because is it a secret at this point because you just said it?
It's very, the way I market it, it's very hush hush. There's been no leaks. There's been no little snippets or anything like that. it's legitimately like even the trailer that I use, all that stuff is pretty much things that I've been pushing since almost 2 years from now. It's just more so of a culmination of what I've been doing for the past 2 years, and now I'm just giving it to the people. The reason why I say it's a secret is because the first act, I should say, is executively produced by me. And I don't really put a lot of my production out there like that. So I consider it a secret album. But the second act, which is pretty much like a compilation of songs between 2016 and 2018, it's pretty much the throwaway tracks that should have been the sequel to the project that I dropped, Love a Documentary. And that's why it's called Love a Double Feature, because it's a two-part project.
That's brilliant. That's honestly very brilliant. I feel like that's like a really organized way of looking at a bunch of different ways that you've developed as an artist, and like coming back around to these projects after so many years. I feel like it's going to be really interesting to see what comes out of that. And I'm sure it'll be interesting for you to hear how it changes from 2016, for example, over into 2020, which is just, you know, who could have predicted 2020?
I couldn't have, but I'm glad that I didn't, because I live in my head a lot, and I'd much rather live in the now instead of living in my head.
Yeah, definitely. I need to remember that. So that's coming out on Saturday, is the new album. Do you have any other information you could spill about it, like where we can listen to it, or is there a music video? Oh, I'm so curious.
It's funny you say that, because DistroKid is booty cheeks. I've been trying to upload this project for the past 2 weeks now onto DistroKid. Nothing's been going on. There's always saying something about a cover. I've made almost 2 different covers by now. At this point, my final cover is going to be like a black background that says DistroKid messed up my rollout. Thank you. And just give them that, and hopefully they'll accept that, because at this point it's kind of ridiculous. But besides that point, essentially it's going to be found on my Bandcamp, which is scoreswayze.bandcamp.com. I feel as though with everything that's going on Bandcamp wise, with Bandcamp Fridays and taking away like waiver fees and things like that, I felt as though the best thing for me to do is give people that type of like pretty much connection to what I do every day. Like everything that's on my Bandcamp is very personal, like in terms of not in terms of like the music, of course the music, but in terms of the content as well. So when you buy the album, it's not just like 5 tracks, here you go, leave me alone. It's 5 tracks, director's commentary, like videos, covers, even discounts for like my merch and things like that. It's very like in touch with the people. Like once you get the Bandcamp, you get all of me. Everything else is just to fill out space on other platforms.
That's really neat. Something that I'm noticing about the different kinds of artworks that you do and musical projects that you do is that they all seem to be very multimedia or multifaceted, and that it's never just, you know, one piece of art, like here's a nibble, there you go, you know, give me all the money in the world and then like I'll see you. But rather it's like all of these neat things that are pretty vulnerable. It seems like the commentary, I would say, is vulnerable, and your own production, I think that's vulnerable. And like there's a lot of different ways that you build those community connections, like and how that comes out. So one thing that I actually saw that I thought was really interesting is that also on the day of your album rollout is a Smash tournament.
That's not day. It's just that I've been like promoting that for quite some time. The Smash tournament, I plan on debuting that on August 29th, which is 2 weeks from that. It's just that the Smash tournament is kind of like hey, here's a heads up kind of situation. But I've been building towards that, just to have more like events that'll connect people while they're separated, because we can't really go to any more events. We can't do any more networking events and things like that because of like COVID-19. So I felt as though the best thing for me to do is still have people connected in some kind of way, but they can still have fun and things like that. because like I know that inside the rapper studio is really just inside the actor studio. It's just that nobody wants to hear rappers talk about, you know what I'm saying, a bunch of, hey guys, this is how I feel when I make music. We're legitimately tools for entertainment. So I keep that out there for people to dig into if they want that, but people don't want that. So I'd much rather entertain them with the same artists, but through video games such as Super Smash Brothers. I don't know if you can hear anything in the background because my roommates are very loud when they're playing Smash, but that's even an example of watching like Saturday Night Smash, where it's just a lot of excitement. It's a lot of like pretty much just in the space of like playing video games and things like that. And also you get to know more artists within the city that plays these games. So not only is it a chance to like watch and be entertained by these games and these artists, but it's also another way to like connect with local artists in your area.
I mean, I've always lived in Virginia, but Baltimore is not that far away. But it's definitely got its own scene going on, and I'm sure things have been difficult to accommodate for. I guess adjustments have had to be made over the past handful of months. How has that been for you over the past couple months being in Baltimore in particular as everything goes on?
It's one of those things that really make me think of like how everything has gone for the past like 10 years of me making music. Honestly, it's like, it's one of those things that's, how should I put this? It makes you think of what you thought 10 years ago and where you are right now. Because 10 years ago, I was one of those like little snot-nosed punks. All I really wanted to do was just make music. Oh, you should listen to me. I'm the greatest rapper out, da-da-da-da-da. And not really putting in the work. And it's just that 10 years later, where I have put in the work, I have put in the brand and put in all the energy and things like that. And the only difference is that all the information was confirmed. So quite frankly, it's one of those things that makes you realize that no matter how much work you put in or don't put in, the place is always going to be the place. Home is always going to be home. And that's kind of how I feel about the city. Like even with the scene in itself, I mean, I'm not too crazy about it. I don't get booked a lot, nor do the people that I feel like should get booked a lot don't get booked a lot because of politics and things like that. But overall, it's still home. It's still some place that you have to go to. It's still a place that you pretty much like manifest all that energy in towards. And it's still a place that you would have to like make it happen in. So as much as I would love to complain about like Baltimore and the scene and things like that, at the end of the day, it's a job. You still gotta clock in. You still gotta put in that work.
Yeah, for sure. It's really wonderful seeing how there's a lot of connections and community going on. But at the same time, you know, on the other hand, the fact that those community connections exist like that doesn't come easily. Like you have to put work into those and you got to like nurture those and feed into it, you know, if you want to get anything back from it. And so that's really interesting, the different ways that you're able to engage with people, whether it's in person or even now when you're able to connect with people almost every day. That's really, really cool to see. I meant to like mention it earlier before, so I'm just gonna swing back around for your new music video. That was a great transition. You have a new music video for the song called Shelf. I meant to bring it up earlier when you were talking about new music, but then I can't remember where my mind went. But Nancy brought it up in the chat, so thank you, Nancy. Can we talk about Shelf?
Absolutely. Shelf not only is one of my most personal songs, it's also one of my most personal videos. I felt as though with the videos that I usually put out, they're very rapper-y, whereas though like I'm very just in a scene, just like, you know what I'm saying, making music and things like that, and just rapping in the camera. But this is more so just taking all that energy that I felt over the past few months within quarantine, which is everything that's been happening. Like a lot of death has been around me. Like even personal death, such as my grandmother, has been around me. Even like hours before like an episode of like Inside the Rapper Studio, I got the news of that. So like a lot of that still sits within. It's just that the way you have to express it is different. So I felt as though the best thing for me to express that kind of pain was through visuals, was through music. So that's why the video for Shelf is very like eerie in a sense when it comes to rapper videos. It's just me standing in a white sheet wrapped up, and the white sheet represents in Islamic funerals called janazas. You're wrapped in a white sheet before you're buried under the ground. That's why I walk around in the white sheet. So it's essentially me being a dead man walking.
That's really neat. I think that goes along really well with your name, Swayze. I believe it's a play on Martin Scorsese, and then but
Yes.
like also like Swayze, like Patrick Swayze, like Ghost, and so like there's the whole dead man walking. I feel like that's like a cute little like play right there. I just wanted to point that out because I just thought that was really neat.
I have to give credit because nobody ever does that much research on interviews with me. So I have to give you the applause button because it really warms my heart. People just ask the basic questions, and I felt as though like even as artists, even as like people that aren't technically journalists but does a journalist job, that was well done. So thank you very much for even like bringing that up. So.
Oh gosh, thanks. Thank you. No, I mean it's been really great checking out your work. Again, like the fact that there's so many layers to I feel like everything that you produce and that you give so much out of every single project. I think it's really wonderful. So I'm really excited to hear the new album coming out this Saturday. Just saying today is Wednesday because it's Grim Wednesdays, and so it's Saturday. But the music video for Shelf is already out, so everybody can get to that everywhere on the yes. So, I have 1.5 more questions. So, I was wondering, what's your vision for the rest of 2020 or just the future?
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know. That's the whole point of 2020. As 2020 vision really shows that we don't know what the hell is coming up next. So the best thing for us to do is really live like nothing else is coming up next. Quite frankly, it's one of those things that make me realize that the stuff that we all do as musicians is something that we cannot really just like put in within 5-year plan or 5-month plan or 90-day plan or things like that. I don't like doing those plans. I never did like doing those plans, and 2020 just confirmed why I don't like doing it, because legitimately anything can happen. So I don't know what's going to happen up next, but I hope I have enough energy to even keep doing music for one, because I have another project planned for Q4 of 2020. And I'll also have Saturday Night Smash, which is due at the end of August or beginning of September. And I really want to do season 2 of Inside the Rapper's Studio. So all that is just in the plans of the future. But as I said before, ain't no telling how the future looks.
For sure. My last half question is how can we support you now?
Is that a half question? That's a full question. Like
it's just how can we support you now? No, okay, you win. Anyway, how can we support you?
There you go. So I have Cash App, which is swayze TV. Well, #swayze TV. Another way that you can support me is this Saturday by buying the album Love a Double Feature, which is going to be on scoreswayze.bandcamp.com. Also, another way to support me is to buy my merch, which is available via What a Maneuver /collections/scoreswayze. Please remind me, you and Judy, that y'all will get like merch and stuff like that, because like I definitely need to like look out for you guys, because you definitely looked out for me for even giving me this interview. So I have to not only thank you, I have to thank Judy as well. So thank both of you.
Well, thanks, Nancy. I mean, Nancy's the one who like put this all together for tonight. Honestly, I'm just along for the ride. But thank you so much for being on the show and sharing so much about yourself and about your plans for the future, and kind of like culminating so many years of work into now. And so that's really amazing to be able to be a part of that now. So thanks for letting us learn about you today.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure.
Alrighty. Well, I'm just gonna casual segue over and mention that this is Grim Wednesdays with Quiet Year Records, Grimalkin Records, and rumblepak. All the artists are getting paid by rumblepak. But please, please, please donate to Virginia Anti-Violence Project, who does a lot of great work for survivors across the state of Virginia, particularly in LGBTQIA plus and marginalized communities. So they do a lot of great work. And I mean, what's the point of making great art if we can't enjoy it? So, you know, that's we gotta help each other out. We gotta be there for each other so we can enjoy all the nice things we have. Oh, and props to Woven In and Burko for telling Nancy about Scorsese. What a small world. Like, it's just, I love seeing it all come around.
Shouts out to Burko. That is the day one. Love Burko so much.
Oh my gosh. Cool. So we're gonna kind of switch over from Scorsese over to Rafael. Hello, Rafael. I'm hoping that you're there because they're gonna do a really wonderful performance for us. It's like semi-improvisational, semi-put together. I heard a little bit about it, but just as like a little brief background, Rafael's over in Brazil and has been doing a lot of different kinds of projects, like hip hop, noise, experimental, avant-garde, just lots of different really wonderful things. So I'm gonna let Rafael take it away. This is Grim Your Wednesdays. Thank you. Yeah, that was sweet.
Let me
Just so everybody is,
let
paying
me bring you
attention.
a little closer. I
Cool.
hope it
Hi.
was disruptive enough as it probably was to my neighbors.
I mean, I thought it was great. I hope they like it too. They're probably at home
They
like,
are my biggest
whoa,
fans.
I love that was a great moment right there. Ooh, that like
Oh yeah,
transition over.
they love my metal playing. Please, they're the biggest fans. No, but serious. Thanks, and thanks for the opportunity as well.
No, thank you for being here. That was really wonderful. So I'm just gonna go right into it. How's your day been?
Ah, well, okay. It's been okay. It's been a regular day. At this point, I think a lot of people probably have experiencing similar days over and over. So yeah, it was one of those. This was a highlight right here. So yeah, how
Nice.
was your day?
Mine's been good. I did some cleaning around the house and I mostly just get excited to do this today. And so it's kind of like the marker of my week is Wednesdays is the both the start and end of my week. But yeah, no, it's really cool. I was actually looking up some of your work earlier today, and I feel like there's so much to check out, and there's like so many different phases of work that you've done that I thought was really interesting. So I think like multimedia artist, that doesn't even begin to cover it. I feel like that's just like one facet of things. So I'm like,
Yeah,
where
it's
do I
very
even
hard to
begin?
describe. Yeah, I have that problem myself. I mean, that's actually my biggest problem right now. It's been putting a lot of work and really figuring, not really thinking about the result or of the work as a project, but really focusing on the process of it and having fun doing whatever it was, being it a film, music, a game. And over time, yeah, that became a little bit complicated. People they respond better to niche, right? I do believe that. I think uh, the more specific you are, the easier it is in the internet age. And that's the problem when you do all sorts of different projects that don't necessarily dialogue with each other. So yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, for sure. Um, I think that makes sense that how you create doesn't necessarily have to be specifically about a product in the end. Like this is
Yeah.
the music career, and the next big album is this, big pop sensation. Like that's something that some people do, but not everybody. And so it makes sense
Yeah, I
to.
think I don't want to. I never judge people who do that in a bad way. I think it is a part of the game. It's part of the dynamics that are set. If you want to be part of whatever artistic industry that may be, you're bound to play with those dynamics. But I have a problem remembering that. And I just go off doing a bunch of stuff. And when I go back, I'm like, yeah, I've got to do so much work over all of this. It becomes messy.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think something that you said earlier is that I don't remember the exact word that you used. I think it was disconnected. I thought that was an interesting way to think about it because I was thinking the opposite, really, where I could see the connections from one project and influencing the other. For example, you have your like main like hip hop rap project, Eche? Eche?
Heshi. Yeah, yeah.
Heshi. Dang it. Okay.
That's I always love hearing the different
Oh,
how
I'm
it
so
sounds on for
sorry.
each one. No, no, no. Even people in Brazil, when I used to go to rap battles and such, they would not get my name, and it was always yeah, it was always difficult. But it's not a problem. Go ahead.
but yeah, you have that project, which I listened to the album on Bandcamp, which is really neat. And that had a lot of different. I feel like hip hop is not enough to compass it. There's a lot of like avant-garde, like electronic, and like I would say even some like noise and like ambient influences in there. And then I could see
For
how that like
sure.
translated over to like your other projects. Like, I mean, you've done that, you've done uh Pedroso and Pedrosa,
Pedroso
right?
Pedrosa. Yeah, Pedro is
Yeah.
actually here. Shout out to the Pedrosa of the Pedroso Pedrosa. He's watching. So yeah.
Yeah. And like that translates over to, I'm just like kind of like listing off your resume right now a little bit. But I mean, there's like so much cool stuff to check out. But this one I do
Yeah.
want you to help me say because some of the
Okay.
characters don't exist in English. But it's like the industrial hip hop album. It's on that the label, the
Snow Know How probably. Or no,
no,
it's
no,
on
not
the
that
Find
one.
Records. Informação e Carne.
Yes.
Probably that. It translates to information and meat or information and flesh. I do have it translated. I don't know if it's if the translations are anywhere public, but I did do translations for that one. But yeah, go informação e carne. I call it information actually because I chatted so much about it in English that it's kind of the nickname. But yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah, no, that
It,
makes sense.
and it does. You're right. Hip hop came into my life in a weird way, and it was a very important part of my life, and it still is. But my background with music, it goes all over the place. I really started doing music uh, because I wanted to do ambiances for tabletop RPGs that I was hosting. So I was a bad dungeon master, and I needed to try to bring it up a little bit. So I started just started playing with electronic music, and I already play the drums, so those two elements were there from the beginning. And when I found hip hop, I wrote poetry as well, but I always figure I was a bad singer. My voice is kind of weird. It's kind of rusty.
Nah.
You know,
Eh.
yeah, people tell you stuff. I don't know
Okay.
if you've been in those situations, but yeah. So when I found hip hop was kind of a no-brainer to just go with it. For a time there, it was for me. I had a friend who was an illustrator, and he became a tattoo artist because he wanted people to see his art, and he figured being a tattoo artist, people would actually see his art on the streets everywhere. And I figured there was a correlation with hip hop that people were not reading my poetry, and I just figure, well, I can throw my poetry in people's face and they will have to listen to it. And that started a whole thing with me. So yeah.
Yeah, that's really wonderful. I mean, it's really great to see how different aspects of yourself can come together, where you have like, musical skills, you have these writing skills. I think you have a nice voice, so, fuck whoever else.
Thanks.
You think that you don't have a good voice.
I grew to love it as well. I'm here for it every day, so I don't think I have another option at this point.
Yeah. You just have
It's
to
all
get
good.
used to it.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. Um, yeah, no, that's really neat. I actually thought that like, um, gosh, I lost my train of thought because I just thought that was really funny. You brought up coming up with starting out with music for like tabletop RPG games. I thought that was really interesting. You have, don't you? I think you have hinted online that you actually have a game coming up that you're working
Yeah.
on now. Could you tell us a little
I
bit more
do
about
have
that?
a Yeah, for sure, for sure. I do have a couple projects. I started I think it was in the beginning of 2019. I started teaching myself how to program. and just for fun, really. I just wanted to see. Oh, I was kind of scared of coding because I'm bad at math, and I thought
Mhm.
the two were correlated, and they are not really. If you want to go learn programming, it's a lot easier than you think. I encourage everyone here to go do it because it's very easy. Nowadays, they made it really easy. So yeah, I did a little game. I started doing these mini art games. I have a noise project that is called Deus One or Deus Um, which it started as a video art, and that really goes into the multimedia aspect that you were saying, because it started off as a video and it became music, and now
Mhm.
I did kind of a mini game. It's kind of a interaction. I don't know how to say it, and I'm since then I've been working on a couple more. I don't want to spoil anything yet, but yeah, there are some cool things happening, like interactive albums and things that I have been trying to bring together film music within the programming to do a unique package of it. It's
Yeah,
pretty much.
definitely. I think when I was looking up a little bit more about the background of work, it kind of ended up being like a rabbit hole where one project would lead to the next, and I see these collaborators kind of like merging over, which I think is really great. It's really nice to see those connections, you know, see how they change and stay the same over time. Actually, I think before it was Pedrosa that you mentioned, who is here actually, and y'all have a radio show together as well as
Yeah,
performing music together, which I thought
yeah.
was really interesting. What's been your experience like hosting a radio show?
Oh, it's been crazy. I'm sure Pedro will agree with me. The show called Pedroso and Pedrosa Presents, and we're all about keeping the P word there in every title and everything we can. It's a mixture of comedy and music, really. That's the best way to describe it. Um, it's on radio on Berlin, which is more of a radio focus on radio art, in the sense of a piece is made for radio rather than playing a playlist or having a DJ to curate songs. It's more on that vein. So our show we actually do once a month. It's in English. Everyone that's here can hear and understand it, because most of the rap projects you mentioned are in Portuguese, which I had to I'm bad with translating. I just take a lot of time. So yeah, I haven't translated most of them, but the radio show is in English. And yeah, me and Pedro basically we have to come up with 10 to 15 minutes of new composition of new music that we made for the show, and on top of that, a subject, and then do the whole bits and the whole talking, and then we also are never sure if our program is going to get accepted in a
Mhm.
sense of we're always pushing, I guess, our humor and the music so far that we every episode is a test of whether people are going to still put up with us. But it's been working so far. It's been working.
Yeah, that's how you find out who the real fans are.
Yeah, yeah,
Where,
that
you
is
know,
true.
who's gonna
That is
stick
true.
around?
Yeah, that is. Yeah, we alive yet, like Pedro just said in the chat. That is correct. We're alive yet. Um, but yeah,
That's really funny. Well, that's really neat. I mean, I think it's interesting that you're talking earlier before about like the sound of your voice, and now again, not only are you trapped with it, but you're using it so much. And that's really neat.
yeah,
I love seeing like the intersections between the different things that you do. So
yeah.
earlier you mentioned that you wrote
Exactly.
poetry. Oh,
Yeah,
it's okay. So earlier you mentioned that you were writing poetry when you were younger. You actually came out with well, I don't want to say new because it's not like new, but like a mini novel
Yeah, yeah. I
on
guess we call
Cordiana
novelette over here. Yeah, it's kind
novella.
of a short. It's too long to be called a short story, and it's too short to be called a novel. So it fits
Mm,
right into that category of I don't know what to call it. So over here, there's the term novelette, which would be a shorter novel. But yeah, I did it. Yeah, that was years of writing. In I'm not very good. I don't have this image of me as a very good writer. I'm very insecure writing. So yeah, it's a surrealistic short story. It's hard to explain even if you read it, but it's not in the sense of that it's too bizarre. It just plays out with expectations a lot. And it's called Fabio Café Verde, which would translate to Fabio. It's a name, like Fabio, and Café Verde. It's green coffee. But yeah, I cannot give a synopsis on it because it it, it goes from one character to another character and to another character. It doesn't really have a plot that I can easily summarize,
yeah,
unfortunately.
definitely. That's okay. Well, I mean, if you feel like translating, if you do end up translating
One
it to
day.
English, I would love to read it because I mean, I feel like just like looking at the text, I can see like some similarities to like English that I can like kind of pick up on. But I mean, I'm not
For
gonna like
sure.
understand, you know.
But
But
there
it would be
is
really nice
people
to.
who read it. Oh, they yeah. I'm pretty bilingual on talking to people, and especially here in Brazil, I use a lot of terms that come from English, and it just creeps in. My mind is already a mess with which language am I speaking, and it just becomes that a messy thing. But it works. It's working so far. I'm able to communicate. I'm here, right? We alive yet, so it's all
Yeah,
good. Yeah,
definitely. Actually, on that note, so you collaborate with other artists in a lot of different ways. Not just in Brazil, though. I know that you collaborate also with some American artists as well.
I did.
How would you describe how that's been working with people in a different country?
Um, well, Brazil is so big that sometimes you collaborate with someone that is so far away that it almost feels like a different country already. But yeah, it does. It does. I think it doesn't really change from country to country, but artist to artist. Anyone
Mhm.
who collaborates a lot, and I do, I'm all the time collaborating. You tend to pick up there's types of artists and types of artists, and I think it's all a matter of workflow. I have no problem working through the internet, working on a distance. So in that, it never bothered me to work with anyone from another country in that sense. As long as we can communicate and understand each other as well, it's all good.
Yeah, for sure. That's
Yeah,
really neat
I
to
want.
see.
Yeah, I wanted to thank everyone. I remember this in time. I wanted to thank everyone who donated. I had a really shitty and stressful situation over here, to say the least about it. I'm not gonna go into full detail right now because I would just start ranting, but I wanted to thank everyone that helped me get through that. I wanted to thank Nancy. I know she's watching, to help put out all that, and everyone that donated too. And I mean, thanks. I was speechless about the help. So, yeah, I just want to leave this out there.
Yeah, definitely. I saw that and I thought it was really interesting. I was like looking at the exchange rate between US dollars and like the currency over in Brazil, and it's so interesting how that works. And like I don't know, with every I have many thoughts on like American money because I think it's just
It's insane. When I was
wild.
right now, 1 real, which is the currency here, it's about $5 something. And when I was a kid, it was about was $1 was about $2.50. So it pretty much doubled over time, which I don't know, just shows for me our financial my country's financial stability going down. So I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, no, the world is falling apart.
It
But I
sure
know
is, but we're
for
alive yet.
yeah, yeah. No, but it's interesting. I mean, like my mindset is very American. That's like I get American news, and so it's kind of nice having my bubble popped and just
Yeah, well, yeah.
just like yeah.
One thing I wanted to say to everyone out there, listen to more music from other countries. And I say that to myself as well, because sometimes I don't do that often. Just search a country that you never heard an artist from and look at it. It's impossible not to find someone who's doing something you're gonna enjoy. And I think that aspect of globalization, it's kind of slow yet, even with the internet. I don't think people are really looking to all the corners of this weird but beautiful planet we are.
Yeah, definitely. If anything, I was just thinking about the fact that like a lot of your music is in Portuguese and the fact that like even though it's in a different language and I may not understand that one aspect of it, I can understand the other part, like the rest of the music parts that you put in there. And so
Yeah,
that's kind of a way that I can connect with that and like learn about
I'm glad
that.
to
And so
hear
I would
that.
imagine that translates over to other languages too, where you know there's still a lot to be able to take in, just
It
appreciating.
does. And if you really want a translation, try talking with the artist. I mean, that's all communicating and making these bonds across oceans and everything. That's a beautiful thing, and we should be looking at that more. I don't know. It's something that crosses my mind. It's not to put away the effort that we have to do in our local community as well, because that is very important. But we do have that window open to connect with the rest of the world, and I think that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I have one more, well, two more questions for you.
Go ahead.
One would be, what's your vision? So, what's your vision for 2020, for the rest of 2020, or for the future?
Oh man, I don't know.
Let's pretend this is like a magical
Three
world where there's
calls
no like
question.
reality.
Yeah.
You can have whatever you want.
That I have no idea. I would like to see things shake up. I know the pandemic is already a huge shake, and not when I see shake up, it's not a bad way, like it's an earthquake, like a literal shake up. It's not that. It's just having a change in the current dynamics, because I feel like we're stuck in like a finger trapper or something, and we put a farbo, and that locks us more in that fear trap. I don't know. I have no clue for the rest of the year. I never have a prediction. So why would I now? I'm thinking to myself. So yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
that makes
know. I
sense.
really don't know.
So, my last question for you is, how can we support you right now?
Yeah, check out my art. Check out what I do. It's out there. Judy found it. I can link anyone who wants links. The I think that's what I can ask the most uh, in the long in the longer aspect. I think that's the most important. Share my art, listen to it, see if you like it. If someone may like it, share it. I don't. So it's pretty much that. Listen to the radio show. Me and Pro are putting beautiful album on Grimalkin. Pre-order will start this month. Check that out when it comes. It's much that.
Cool, wonderful. Alrighty, well, thank you so much for performing and sharing a bit about yourself with us.
And
And
just wanted to
being a great guest.
thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, for sure. No,
Just
thank you for being
thanks,
here.
just huge shout out. Yeah, thanks.
Oh yeah, and thanks for everybody who's here. Thanks to Nancy and Grimalkin and rumblepak and everybody else who is supportive in any way. My name's Shooty, and I run Quiet Year Records, and this is a collaborative effort with Grimalkin Records and rumblepak. We're raising money for Virginia Anti-Violence Project, who does a lot of great work for survivors of violence across Virginia, particularly in marginalized and LGBTQIA plus communities. So they do a lot of really great work. Their website's virginiaavp.org. Please check out all the artists that we featured tonight. All 2 artists that we featured tonight. Support their work and support your communities. Thank you so much. Have a good night.